Hey guys, this is Rob Dennis bringing you another video about financial freedom and my path. Today we're going to be talking about my rental house and some drama that unfolded with it. So if you guys have been watching and tracking along with the videos, I bought my first rental house about 2 months ago. I got my first rent payment on time on December 1st. So I guess I bought it in September, so I got November not having to make any payments. And then I was nice to the tenants and I just didn't charge them the first month's rent. Even though they moved in early November, I could have prorated them and charged them for the majority of the month. Trying to be a nice guy, I won't do it again, and we'll go into that in a minute. All I did was charge them their security deposit, and I said that would act as their first month's rent, right? Because I wanted to get somebody in the house and get it rented out before the lease, or before the mortgage actually started charging me for what was going on. So they move in, sign the lease, everything is seemingly going smooth. Within 3 or 4 days of them moving into that house, I get a phone call about 8 o'clock at night, and it goes verbatim, "Hey Mr. Dennis, I just wanted to call and let you know that there is some smoke damage in the kitchen, on the stove. We accidentally burned a piece of mail, nothing major. We'll get it cleaned up and we'll take care of it, but you may want to come by and take a look at it." Right, and so this is at 8 o'clock at night. I was just getting home from work. I hadn't had anything to eat yet, and I'm just sitting there thinking in my head, how do you accidentally burn a piece of mail on a gas stove? If any of you have never owned a gas stove, you have to push and turn to a very specific position and hold it for the igniter for the gas to go off and actually light the stovetop, right, the burner. So I'm just sitting there like, because they were telling that she went through this whole story about how her shirt caught on it, and you know they were putting stuff in the cabinet, and the mail caught on fire by accident, and it was just a little bit of smoke damage. But I'm just sitting there, if it was just a little smoke damage, why would you be calling me? Because the cabinet enamel paint that we used, you can pretty much wipe anything, grease, oil off of it. So if it was just a little bit of smoke damage, you should just be able to take a wet sponge, wipe it right off, no harm, no foul. Never have to tell your landlord that you had a small fire in the kitchen. So I tell her that, you know, I can't come by tonight unless they absolutely need me to, but I'll definitely come by tomorrow afternoon and take a look at it. So I try to maintain a minimum of a 24-hour response, but I try, if I can make it happen, I'll do stuff that same day that they call me, just because I want to make sure that my tenants are happy. And I want to say ahead of time that I did jump through a bunch of hoops for these guys, right? Like they wanted a fence built for their dog. The yard was fenced on all 4 sides, but there was a section of the fence that a tree had fallen down and knocked down on the front of the house. So me and my brother went out there and we built a new section of the fence to act as a gate that leads from the front yard to the backyard. Privacy boards and everything, looks really nice. And just like the fire pictures, I had all that on my old phone, and I happened to drop and break my phone about 2 days after I took all the pictures. So I don't have anything to show you guys. I'm just gonna have to kind of walk you through it and let you know of the headaches that I've gone through and my experience, and hopefully you'll learn a little something from it and avoid my pitfalls. So like the video title said, they almost burned the house down, literally. I get there, I walk in, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I look at the cabinets, because it's not a big house, it's a 1,300 square foot house. So as soon as you walk in the front door, like I saw the cabinet and I was like, what happened? That's not a little bit of smoke damage, right? And I walk up and they start telling me the story of, well, we were cleaning it and the paint started to come off. This is a full-size stove, stainless steel, brand new. The cabinets had been freshly painted. Like I said, I bought this house right after they did a fresh renovation on it. I spent about $4,000 putting a new roof on it. Everything on this house is brand new, so I was trying to get some really nice tenants in there that would pay me on time and not damage the home, so that I would have a fully functional house for the next, I don't know, 10 to 20 years, right? Because HVAC in it's new also, and I don't mind doing the minor home repairs myself. Like, I know I'm a very handy person. So I walk in, see that, and I get to the kitchen, and I instantly turn and look at them and I go, you didn't accidentally light some mail on fire. This is obviously a grease or oil fire. Because, like I said, standard stovetop, so I don't know, 40 to 50 inches wide. The cabinets that line either side, the high cabinets that line either side of it, had black marks all the way down it, where the paint had bubbled off and it burned the wood underneath. This is not a new house. This is a 1961 home. These are the original cabinets. This is a real wood cabinetry. This is not Home Depot compressed board or anything like that, or particle board. This is just straight up wood, right? Like and it's old. It's not gonna burn that easy. It's gonna take some fuel. And for it to bubble off like that and to get down to the wood like that, they had to let this thing get way out of control. And then it's got a stainless steel vent on top of the stove. So I just happened to look up under it, right? Lean up under it, look at it, and the light bulb inside this hood vent had exploded. It got so hot. And I looked at the aluminum vent, right? Because there's a little aluminum vent to catch the oil and particles and all on the hood. And the vent had melted in places. And then at the top of the hood, where there's a little vent that kind of leads out into the room, and then another vent that leads out into the exterior. And I ran my finger across that vent, and black soot came off. That just to show you how much black smoke and everything was going through the house. The rest of the house was fine. Didn't have any damage to the ceiling. It was all contained in the stove area. But I looked at them, I was like, guys, this is not something, like I had brought paint with me, right? Because I was like, just not a big deal. I may have to touch up something. No. I looked at them, I was like, you guys are gonna have to fix this. This is on you. This is not standard wear and tear. The insurance that you're supposed to have that you still haven't sent me yet, right? That's a lesson learned. They did not send me their insurance. They still have not yet sent me their insurance. So I'm going to send them a notice that if they do not send me their insurance in the next 30 days, I'm going to probably start the eviction process. The issue being, the whole fiasco of what's going on in the world right now. I don't know if I can evict them or not, and I'm new. But they have paid me on time, and they went ahead and they scheduled the January 1st payment ahead of time. I'm doing all of that through the Zillow property management site. So it's kind of, I'm trying to be nice and play it by ear, and we'll see where it goes. Sorry about the blue light. My computer's going to sleep on me. It's a terrible way to start off the first rental property, right? I own the house less than a month, and they almost burn it down. They also had pets inside, right? Like, I made an exception for them. Granted, I did cover myself on this one. I put a clause in the lease that said, no pets. But then at the bottom, I said if there are pets, then they will be outside pets, and I'll have a $500 deductible that I'm going to take from them that they have to pay me before they move out, because the house is going to have to get cleaned, right? They told me straight up they had one dog, and that was the only pet they had, and it would be outside, not a problem, don't worry about it, you're good to go, Mr. Dennis. Of course the dogs were outside when I showed up, because I was nice and told them, hey, I'm on the way, I'll be there in an hour, and we'd already pre-scheduled the time anyway the day ahead of time. So I get there. In the kitchen, there's a litter box, right? Cats use litter boxes, I'm not an idiot, I see cat toys on the floor. The reason I don't want to deal with pets is because a lot of people don't train their pets, they don't housebreak them, and they just let them use the bathroom and they tear up the house. So I'd look at them, and I'm a pretty nice guy. I don't like confrontation, but at the same time, I'm not afraid of confrontation. I was in the military for years. My dad used to run a bar. I'm a manager. I'm used to dealing with people, both good and bad, and I try to handle everything as positively as I can. But I do have a little bit of a RFB, if you guys know what that is, or my face kind of gives away my mood more than my tone, because I'm pretty monotone, as you can tell. But I looked at him and I was like, so you almost burned my house down, and this is exactly the way I said it. I said, you almost burned my house down, and you've got pets inside. Not just pets, you have a cat. Tons of people have cat allergies and cat dander problems. I asked you specifically not to bring pets in the house, and you've had your dogs in here. And they said, no, we haven't had our dogs in here, they're outside. You saw that they were outside. Well, this house has white tile that runs from the back door, through the kitchen, through the foyer to the front door, and I could see dirty dog prints, dirty paw prints, it's pretty obvious on that white tile floor. And I told them that. And they were like, well, we were just walking through the house. And again, in my angry tone, I was like, no, I see a lot of footprints. They didn't just walk from the back door to the front door. I can see where they've been running around in here. I was like, don't lie to me. I was like, when I come back to look at this house in a month, or whenever I do my next inspection, or if something else happens, I better not see or smell any pets inside this home. And I guess their kids are living with them, they're adult kids, and he's the one that came out and kind of acted as the mediator and said he understands completely and he knows what they agreed to and they would make it all right. And I told him, I was like, and at the end of the day, you guys are going to pay me that $500 because I'm going to have this house professionally cleaned if you move out. And then we let it go. I was a lot nicer before I left. I kind of, because they had bad credit score, right? Like I let them in, even though it wasn't a terrible credit score, but it was not a great one. their payment history had been good for the last year or two, but not prior to that. But I was like, well, they seem like they're people trying to do the right thing and trying to catch up. So I'm hoping that there are no more issues on my first rental house. We're in month 2 now, right? We made it through November. We're halfway through December, and we've had one other issue. Not their fault. The new HVAC system, something with a valve. It's got an automatic valve in it for the gas. Something with that stopped working when the safeties went off, so I had to pay $89 to get a friend of mine that I use as a tech to come out there, and he fixed it, no problem. Other than that, the house has been great. We're making $484 a month, right? Because of the, they're covering the 600 and whatever payment that I have to make a month. But then I've got insurance on top of that, and I've got maintenance fees and costs that are going to be going into it, especially the damn near burn the house down. So yeah. I'll probably do a follow-up video of this in a couple of months just to, we'll go to the house, maybe take a few pictures or whatever. Of course, I'll let them know ahead of time before I get there, just so I can verify it's all fixed. But like I said earlier, the lesson learned is when your tenants move in, be very firm. Do not try to be their friend. Don't be nice. Don't go too far above and beyond unless you know 100% that they're going to return the same investment that you're putting into them. I'm not saying be rude, I'm just saying be very businesslike, keep everything proper, kind of maintain that professional distance. If they keep asking for things, just understand that that might be a sign that it's going to be a problem tenant or somebody that's constantly harassing you for more and more, even though you're providing what you are supposed to provide ahead of time. They see the house ahead of time. And make sure you get their rental insurance, right? So in your lease, I used a pre-made one from Zillow and then added in some stuff. Make sure that in that writing you have it in there that if they do bring pets in, because they may act like, oh, 3 months down the road I forgot that I wasn't supposed to have pets, or I just got my kid a pet. Just make sure in the writing that says no pets and that you have a pre-written amount of money that they will have to owe you so that you can get professional cleaning done. Most cleaning services, if you do steam cleaning, it's going to be $250 to $500 depending on the size of the house, right? So it's not cheap. Every dollar you lose, it's kind of killing you. Everybody thinks landlords are rich. We're not. We're making a couple bucks here and there, hoping for a payout 10, 15 years down the road. We're not seeing. We have cash flow, but that cash flow is going into the other expenses of owning the home, right? Because as soon as they move out, I got to go in and repaint it. As soon as they move out, I got to go and repair the doors or anything else that gets damaged in the meantime. The renter's insurance, though, that's the biggest thing. Make sure that they send you a copy of the renter's insurance. That's one thing I still haven't got received yet, and like I said, I'm going to request it again. I do everything in email. Even if we call or if they call me, I send a follow-up email immediately when we get off the phone so they can't deny it or deny any conversations, right? That's CYA. The adults in the room know what that means, more than likely, right? So cover your... And that, again, a lesson from the military, a lesson from being a project manager. You never want to give anybody a way to say you didn't tell them, you didn't inform them. You want to have that timestamp on there. The timestamp is huge, right? Because it's a verification from an outside source, right? If you're using Gmail, whatever else, that timestamp's on there. Nobody can deny it at that point. You can just say, hey, I sent it to them on this date. There's no way for me to manipulate this to make it look like anything other than it is. But yeah, other than that, it's been a great experience. I've gotten my one payment. Here in another 15, 16 days, we'll get the second payment. Getting the money in feels great, but at this point, I haven't made anything. I'm gonna have to go in. I'm gonna have to repair those cabinets. That's about $50 for the paint, and then my time, right? I'm trying not to. We're trying to have a semi-passive flow of money or influx of money. I don't want to have to pay for property managers yet because I've only got the one house. When I get up to, I think 4 is the number I'm gonna be. That's the number that's floating around in my head anyway. When I get to 4, then I will start paying them. Hopefully not more than $100 per house to manage it. And I'm going to try to have them all in roughly the same area. But that's where we stand right now, guys, on the rental house. It was a bad deal. Almost burned down and hasn't put a bad taste in my mouth, like I said. I just have bad luck, and it always somehow comes at me. I don't see any way that I could have avoided this, but if you guys have anything else you can add to this, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below of any lessons learned that you've got, anything you'd like to see a video on, anything I may not have covered in detail enough, and I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I hope you guys have a great holiday.